Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is your host Thomas Tyree from On the Hot Podcast. Today, this will be the Combat Series episode 9. Of course, this episode will be coming out on all 4 of our platforms: our Instagram account, our Facebook account, our YouTube account, and our Apple Podcast account. So let's go ahead and dive into the first segment of the Combat Series this week. I'll be sharing my top 5 boxing performances that I have saw and graded in the calendar year 2023. These are the top 5 performances that I have seen in the beginning of 2023. So starting at number 5 is Jaron Boots Ennis' impressive boxing performance against Romy Villa. This was a welterweight affair that took place last month in the sport of boxing. And Jaron Boots Ennis put on the entire welterweight division on notice with his brutal knockout win over Roman Villa in the 10th round to successfully retain his IBF world title. So the way I saw it is Jaron Boots Ennis dominated Villa the entire fight. I had the fight ended in the 10th round via knockout for Jaron Boots Ennis winning the fight. Throughout those 10 rounds, I thought Roman Villa only won 1 round. I scored the fight 9-1 in favor of Jaron Boots Ennis. That's how dominant he was in his last outing in the boxing ring. He controlled the fight in his own way. He controlled it. He controlled the pace of the fight. He controlled it with effective jabs. He was out there doing matrix moves, pausing within seconds of the fight, freezing like he was a part of an action-packed movie. He was doing a lot of skills that something you see fighters would do practicing sparring, maybe during training camp. But he was pulling out tricks out of his own bag in the biggest fight of his respective career thus far. So he had some lethal punches to add to Villa before he got the brutal knockout win in the 10th round. Number 5 is Jaron Boots Ennis' performance last month. And number 4 is Gervonta Davis' performance against Ryan Garcia. Gervonta Davis looked absolutely flawless in his performance against Ryan Garcia, picking up the knockout victory over Ryan Garcia in the 7th round this past April. So he shut down the King. Ryan Garcia was shut down by Gervonta Tank Davis. Gervonta Tank Davis had a great performance against at the time an undefeated boxing star that also had dangerous knockout power. So the power was at stake. Gervonta Tank Davis found a way to contain the King's power and dominate him throughout the fight. I scored the fight in the 7 rounds that the fight took place. I scored it 6-1 in favor of Gervonta Tank Davis, picking up the victory against Ryan Garcia. I had a 6-1. Gervonta Davis, it was basically the perfect cat and mouse game. Gervonta Davis was avoiding Ryan Garcia's signature check left hook that he was looking for to connect to Gervonta Davis the whole entire 7 rounds of the fight. Gervonta Davis proved he was too fast, too big, and too powerful for Ryan Garcia. He had that effective counter punch that rocked the world of boxing, that sent Ryan Garcia clean to the canvas in the 2nd round of that fight, then delivering the body shot heard around the world in the 7th round, which ended up in Gervonta Davis winning that fight via the technical knockout in the 7th round. That's the 4th best performance for me, Gervonta Davis' performance over Ryan Garcia. Number 3 is Teofimo Lopez' performance against Josh Taylor. Teofimo Lopez honestly made Josh Taylor look ordinary when he became the new WBO world champion at 140 pounds and defeated the king of the division, which was Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor was the former undisputed champion at the 140-pound division. He never lost until he fought Teofimo Lopez. He vacated all his belts throughout his time at 140, so he was still truly the king because he's never been defeated until he got in the ring with Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez made Josh Taylor, the best fighter at 140, look ordinary, and I scored the fight went all 12 rounds. It was in favor of Teofimo Lopez winning that fight by unanimous decision. Teofimo Lopez dominated Josh Taylor. I had the fight scored 10 rounds to 2 in favor of Teofimo Lopez. He controlled the fight with counter punches, jabs, and controlled the pace of the fight, making Josh Taylor look ordinary and made Josh Taylor pack his bags and move up to the welterweight division at 147 pounds. That's Teofimo Lopez's impressive performance over Josh Taylor's number 3 on my list. At number 2, I have Naoya Inoue perfect performance against Stephen Fulton. He made him look ordinary. The Stephen Fulton was the former unified champion at 122 pounds. He was the king of that division before Naoya Inoue came over and took over to become the new king of the division. He's now the unified champion at 122 pounds. He made Stephen Fulton look very ordinary. He was too fast, too powerful, too almighty for Stephen Fulton. The boxing IQ showed that as well. Inoue anyway shut down Stephen Fulton's confidence. He shut him down mentally and physically in that boxing ring, which led to his performance being one of the best 50-50 fight performances that I have seen in a boxing ring since I followed the sport of boxing. He made Stephen Fulton look ordinary and picked up the win with the whole entire world watching, solidifying himself as the second best fighter, in my opinion, in the sport of boxing. That performance against Stephen Fulton for Inoue anyway is number 2 on my list. And number 1, it's Terence Bud Crawford's performance against Errol Spence. He made Errol Spence look very ordinary. This was the best boxing performance that I've seen in my entire life. I've never seen anything like this in a 50-50 fight that fans have been watching, waiting to watch for quite some time. Terence Crawford really made Errol Spence look very ordinary, and he made Errol Spence look very slow. He made him look very weak. He made Errol Spence out of sync. It just didn't look like the same Errol Spence that the boxing world loves to this day. He did not look like that elite fighter against Terence Crawford. He really made him look ordinary. He solidified himself to become the 2-time undisputed champion and the first ever 2-time undisputed champion in 2 different weight classes in men's boxing history. Man, that fight, I still get glimpses of that, how many times Terence Crawford sent Errol Spence to the canvas. A total of 3 times before getting the knockout victory in the 9th round. Terence Crawford solidified himself that night as one of the greatest boxers of all time. One of the greatest boxers this generation has seen. The greatest boxer that we have seen since Floyd Mayweather has retired. And no doubt the pound-for-pound king in the sport of boxing today. So those are my top 5 performances of 2023 and the sport of boxing thus far.